coaches coming in, and they've taken some good coaches from Brentford. Now, you do wonder now what potential players Thomas Frank might fancy at Brentford, and does he want to take a number of players from Brentford? It is talking Nathan Collins, the defender who's been absolutely brilliant for them at Brentford. But in terms of Mbeumo, there have been initial discussions about a potential deal. They are interested in him. Antoine Semenyo is another player Spurs like as well. But at this stage of the window, they are just one of a number of top attacking players Spurs have been in discussions with. The encouragement Spurs have had, Jules, is the fact that Bryan Mbeumo,
a man who was dominated much of the early transfer talk this summer, that is Bryan Mbeumo. Will he be following Thomas Frank out of Brentford? And if so, will it be to Spurs or will it be to Manchester United? We spoke to the player yesterday, and you'll have seen that with us, I'm sure. Wasn't giving too much away, was he? Let's, before we come to the Spurs angle on this, get the Manchester United perspective with you, Mark. Linked with him for some time. They've got competition from Tottenham Hotspur. How confident are they of getting their man?
Well, Manchester United will be supremely confident of getting a player that they've identified as someone that can massively improve that attack at Old Trafford. We know that they're relaxed about their pursuit of Bryan Mbeumo. In fact, really, he had turned down other Premier League sides to get to the point where Manchester United were lodging bids for Bryan Mbeumo. The first offer was rejected, which we understand to be around £55 million. But they know that Bryan Mbeumo has effectively chosen Manchester United. Now, we say effectively, that was at the point maybe a week, 10 days ago, when there were the teams at the table and he said, right, thanks very much for everyone's interest, but I've decided to go to Manchester United. I know Michael is going to interrupt me in a minute and say, hang on a second, things have changed at one North London club in the last few days, and therefore could that change the destination of Bryan Mbeumo? He has 1 year left on his Brentford contract, but the club do have an additional year, so therefore it's effectively a 2-year deal that would get Bryan Mbeumo out of his contract. We know that there is interest, and we know that Brentford want around £60+ million for the wide man, who's been there since 2019. His numbers stack up, very consistent with what he does, brilliant relationships with every single person he's been at Brentford. Ivan Toney, Said Benrahma, Ollie Watkins. He's been a consistent force there, but has his Brentford days come to an end?
And if they have, it seems to point to Manchester United then. But, Michael, Thomas Frank's arrival at Spurs.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there have been discussions throughout the last week to 10 days, Brentford and Tottenham Hotspur, very amicable discussions. Thomas Frank, coaching staff, and initial discussions over Bryan Mbeumo. I think for Brentford, it's getting the deal they want, is it? I don't think they're necessarily interested on the club he eventually joins. There's Antoine Semenyo Spurs are looking at as well, and there's a number of players around Europe Spurs are looking at in those attacking positions. I think for Mbeumo, what I understand is he's quite intrigued by a potential prospect of reuniting with Thomas Frank. For me personally, I still think it does lean towards Manchester United. Gone are the days about they want to play in the Champions League, they want to play in Europe.